Hey everyone, I'm the EFC and this is CWANless TV, and today I'm bringing you guys a match preview for our game against Arsenal tonight, and it's going to be at 8 PM, it's going to be on Sky Sports, or if you don't have Sky, I'm sure you guys can find some links online. I normally post links on my Twitter, so if you haven't followed me on Twitter, make sure you do and get a link to see the game. And just one more thing before I start the video, thank you to everyone that spammed that like button when I asked. I got more than 1,000 likes for the Emerson Palmieri video, so it means a lot. And I want to ask for another 500 likes for this match preview. Starting with players who are going to be unavailable for the game. Now from Chelsea's side, we have a lot of players that won't be playing a part in this game. Cesc Fabregas, Alvaro Morata and Courtois. Danny Drinkwater and Gary Cahill are still 50-50, so, and on top of that, Conte's come out stating that Michy will play no part in this game. It's clear that he is going to be leaving on loan. Reports are coming out that Sevilla have called their interest. I mean, I'm not surprised because it's taken them so long to let Michy leave the club, and clubs aren't going to wait for any player to come to them. They'll just move on to different targets. And on top of that, Conte stated in his earlier press conference yesterday that against Arsenal we must be prepared to sacrifice when we're playing off the ball. So it's not really making me feel very optimistic about what the approach for this game is going to be. A small part of me is thinking maybe Conte might use the 3-4-3, Hazard playing up front, maybe Willian and Pedro. But then another part of me is thinking that maybe we'll probably be playing 3-5-2. But who knows, maybe Barkley might even start the game or come on as a sub. Arsenal also have injury concerns of their own. Ramsey, Giroud and Danny Welbeck are out, and Monreal is the only guy to face a late fitness test. Still, coincidentally, both Chelsea and Arsenal won their first games of 2018 last week, and it's quite funny how they both scored 4 goals. Just a bit of extra information as well, you know that the VAR system is used in the Carabao Cup. Now for tonight's game, the replay is actually going to be shown on the big screen, so that's going to be quite interesting. Who knows how the referee is going to respond to that? If he makes any wrong decision, he's going to face a lot of pressure and criticism. And just the last piece of information before I start the preview, if the game remains a draw in 90 minutes, it will go into extra time, but there are no penalty shootouts. Away goals do matter in extra time, so let's say we are drawing the game, it's 1-1 90 minutes ago, and it ends 1-1 in extra time. That means we will go through to the final. And to be honest, I'm not going to be surprised to see us actually go through to the final by getting a draw in this game. When Conte was saying that we have to sacrifice a lot today, maybe this is the type of approach he's hoping for. Now, how do I expect Arsenal to approach this game tonight? Now, when they did beat Palace 4-1, they did use a 4-3-3, but looking throughout their previous big games throughout the season, they have used a 3-4-3 system, and I think for this game tonight they're going to continue to use the 3-4-3 system because they want to hope to match us man for man. And with the back three playing compact and close to each other, that means they can outman any of our forward threat, especially if that means we are going to use a 3-5-2. Now, some of you guys might be bored when I talk about Arsenal's approach because I tend to say the same thing for every video because their approach doesn't really change at all. And I've said numerous times why Arsenal are so successful against Antonio Conte. Arsenal do press very high. Now, when they do press, there's normally a 20 or 25 yard space between the attacker midfield and the midfield and their defence. There's space like this because Arsenal do use a very high line and they press very high. It's very compact as well. The great thing that Arsenal do against us that has caused us a lot of issues is how aggressive they press on the flanks. Whenever we have the ball on the left or the right, Arsenal's whole team will press to either flank. And by doing this, that really limits what our wing-backs can do because that limits the options they can pass to. And Arsenal do this because they hope to have the wing-backs forcing direct balls to the front two where they're hoping that their defenders will win the ball, obviously, because they're already outmanning our attacking players already. And Arsenal do this so many times and they've had great success. We've only beaten them once under Antonio Conte. When Arsenal attack, what they do as well to great effect is how they position their front three. So the wide guys in the front three will be spaced between our wing back and our wide defender. So what this does is it forces our wing back to move in to help out with the wide defender. But by doing that, that gives the space in the flanks free for an Arsenal wing back to run into. Now Arsenal don't really do this too much on the right hand side, but they've had great success on the left hand side because Marcus Alonso doesn't have any recovery pace and he's got very slow acceleration. As we saw in the Brighton game, Giletto was constantly running through him. Alonso couldn't cope whatsoever, and this is why Hector Bellerin's had such great success against Marcos Alonso. Now, to combat this, Conte has decided to play off the ball a lot more against Arsenal. It's about keeping tight and compact at the back and playing those direct balls to the front three, and this point actually falls into Arsenal's weaknesses. And that's the fact that they can't maintain a press. This is why Arsenal's system really is to play aggressively normally in the first half. Once they're hopefully a goal or two up, then they'll decide to sit back and play on the counter-attack. But it really varies in terms of how confident the team's feeling when it comes to how effective Arsenal's pressing is. Another big weakness too is that they make too many individual defensive errors, and their back three are very susceptible to making a mistake. I think Arsenal are the only defence in the team where one long ball down the middle can catch out the entire defence. Now, how do we beat them? And again, this is really hard because I feel that to beat Arsenal, yes, if we did use a 3-5-2, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be outplaying them. That means that we're going to rely on the players' individual qualities to really help us out in the game. So for example, we could win a game in this manner, but let's say we have less shots on goal and less possession. And it is quite risky in my opinion, because we don't tend to score too many goals. But as I was stating earlier in this video, if we do draw the game, obviously not a scoreless draw, it'd have to be 1-1 or 2-2. And if we did make it through extra time with the score the same, that means we would qualify on away goals. So maybe Conte's thinking in his head that this is the safest approach to winning this game because we have the advantage at our hands. But me personally, I do feel that 3-4-3 is the key system to use. I do think 3-5-2 tends to work against teams that don't really press very aggressively or very high. I think teams that do press with that man-marking pressing system have much greater success against us, and that's how we struggle to come out from the back. And because Arsenal do play with a high line and they press high, I don't think that 3-5-2 is necessarily the best approach. I prefer to see a 3-4-3. I think the key to beating Arsenal is obviously by using a 3-4-3 we can combat their wing backs on the flanks, and also with that front three, especially if it looks like Hazard will be playing as a false nine. That means they're able to then collect the ball between the lines between Arsenal's defence and midfield, and that's key to winning the game. As we saw against Brighton, it really helps create a lot of 1v1 opportunities with a lot of quick interchanges, a lot of quick 1-2s, and we're able to then have players constantly moving and obviously moving into the spaces. I like to see that approach, and then maybe a Willian told to drop back into midfield so we can defend with a 5-3-2 when we're off the ball. Still, Conte isn't a good situation because if he does approach the game at the very safe approach, he still has a big chance of going through to the final. But it is quite interesting that Hazard himself has stated that he hopes that Chelsea will obviously look to win the game by scoring goals. He feels that if we don't attack Arsenal, it might not necessarily be in our favour, and I think he's definitely right, you know, the big man's saying it himself. But for my score prediction, I've realised with these things that a lot of times I'm always going for a Chelsea win, and realistically, it's not going to be the case because that would mean that we'd win every single game throughout the season, and it would be some ridiculous milestones and records we would have beaten. There's no way this team's going to win 38 games in a season. But for this game, I think that realistically it's going to be another draw. I'm thinking either 1-1 or 2-2. I'm going to go for 1-1. But if we did use a 3-4-3, I feel that we could beat Arsenal, and I would go for 2-1. But anyway, you guys, in the comment section below, let me know what you think the score is going to be. I'm going to have a few polls on the community tab, so make sure you vote when you see it. And in the comment section below, I want to know how you think this game is going to go. Are you confident that we can get to the final? And are you confident that Conte can finally help us win our first trophy under his spell? Anyway, you guys, thank you for watching this video. Please smash that like button. Get me 500 likes. I like to see that. Expect a lot more videos out. I'm going to be bringing out the player rating video again tomorrow. I know a lot of you guys like that, so expect to see that. Plus, I'm going to be releasing an analysis video of the game. I'm going to use a lot of video footage to really back my points, and I think it would be a nice facet to have on this channel. But anyway, you guys, thank you for watching today's video. Please like, comment and subscribe. And please, if you haven't pressed the bell notification button, what are you waiting for? Press that and stay notified to all things Blue Lions TV. Anyway, you guys, I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. Signing out.